Hello, and welcome to Rambo Bikes. Today we want to discuss the differences between a mid-drive and a hub drive motor. That way we can help steer you in the right direction of which e-bike is right for you. First, let's show the main differences between a mid-drive and a hub drive motor. Simply put, a mid-drive e-bike has an electric motor mounted at the bottom bracket in the middle of the frame between the pedals, while a hub drive motor is installed in the front or rear wheel. That's the basic gist of the main difference, but let's dive just a little bit deeper into the pros and cons of each motor. Mid-drive motors are considered to be the most popular in the e-bike industry. Pretty much anywhere you go, you're going to see options for mid-drive motors, because it is the go-to design for most e-bikes. Now, why is that? Let's discuss the pros. They feel more traditional. With the motor located at the center of the bike, mid-drives have an overall better ride quality. They feel more natural to maneuver and are more well-balanced. Better range and easier up terrain. Mid-drives power the bike directly at the crankset in the middle of the frame, so a mid-drive motor will work in unison with the bike's gears, giving you a better gear ratio and better torque when you pedal. This becomes particularly helpful when you're climbing up steep hills or rough terrain. Easier maintenance. Mid-drive e-bikes are fairly more convenient to repair and maintain. They're very similar when it comes to traditional bikes, when it comes to removing tires or replacing parts. Higher speeds and more torque. Mid-drives tend to have a higher top-end speed because of the efficiency of the gears. If you have a chance to test ride both mid-drive and hub drives, you're definitely going to feel a lot more torque power when it comes to a mid-drive. Now let's go over some of the cons. Breakable bike chains. Because of the extra torque that gets passed through onto the chain, they're more likely to be damaged. So it's not a bad idea to always carry an extra chain while you're riding. However, it is much easier to fix a broken chain in a few minutes compared to a spokes and rim repair on a hub drive that you might end up taking to a professional. Mid-drives can be higher priced. A hub drive motor can be easily added to just about any type of bicycle frame, while a mid-drive motor must be integrated, so the frame is always custom designed for that particular motor. With the mid-drives being a little bit more on the newer side of technology, it can always bring the price up on some of those e-bikes. Now let's take a closer look at the hub drives. A hub drive motor can actually be placed in the rear or front tire, and sometimes even both, like our Crusader and MEGATRON bikes. Like we mentioned earlier, a mid-drive's power gives the feeling of a more traditional bike, with all the power coming from the middle, while a hub drive motor gives a little bit more of a feeling of being pushed or pulled as you ride. This doesn't necessarily mean one is good or bad, it just means that the overall experience is a little different. But let's check out the pros of a hub drive. Easier gears. Hub drives tend to have a one-gear system, so it doesn't require constant changing of the gears while you're riding. You just hop on and go. You don't need a chain. Unlike a mid-drive, if your chain breaks while you're riding, you'll still be able to keep moving forward with a hub drive. Since all the power is coming from the wheel, a broken chain isn't going to slow you down. All-wheel drive options. One big pro, especially when it comes to Rambo bikes, is having an all-wheel drive option with a hub motor. Like our Crusader or MEGATRON, you receive double the traction by having a hub motor in both the front and rear wheel. This especially comes in handy when you're going through rough terrain. Less expensive. Hub drive electric bikes cost significantly less than a mid-drive electric bike. It all comes down to overall design, manufacturing, and just the technology itself. Now let's take a look at the cons. Harder balance. Placing a relatively heavy motor right in the middle of a wheel makes a hub drive e-bike a little bit harder to keep balance or steer. So it may take a little bit of practice before getting used to it. Repairs can be difficult. Since a hub drive bike is designed a little bit more different from a traditional bike, some repairs such as removing your rear wheel can be difficult. So then, which one should you buy? Well, that all just depends on what you're planning to use your Rambo bike for. If you're planning on riding through some rough terrain and going up some steeper hills, you may want to look more into a mid-drive bike. We have mid-drive motors in both high and extreme performance categories, such as our Cruiser or Roamer in our high performance and our Rebel and Venom in our extreme performance. But if you're wanting to stick to a more of a one-gear system, we have hub motor bikes just like our Crusader and MEGATRON, both of which have dual motors in the front and rear wheel, giving you that double traction as you ride. Our MEGATRON even comes with the option of selecting rear, front, or all-wheel drive. We hope this video has helped you in deciding which Rambo bike is right for you. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out at 952-283-0777 or email us at cs@rambobikes.com.